right there. I dragged him here. He's leaving at, his flight is at 4 p.m. So I'm like, let's just make the most out of your last day here. So I'm training about earning referrals in the financial industry, okay? But I want to start by showing you an example, okay? Because this is a product of a referral from a client that was also had an IUL. As you can see, this client pays about $288.67 a month. And the death benefit is only $400,000, okay? Now, look at the interest that she made in 1 year. I was supposed to put that next, sorry. $18, okay? But if you look here, the total premiums that she paid for that year, she paid $34.64. And if you look at the cost of insurance and the contract expenses, you'll see that it's a lot more than what she made in a year, right? All of these IULs work just the same way. So these fools that are on TikTok and, you know, all these social media platforms are all idiots. They really are, right? Ignorant or idiot, they both work hand in hand, right? Needless to say, you know, she was bought into the idea that this is an investment, okay? It's always the same, right? Same BS. And she was now at least trying to figure out if there's any way she could get at least $21.67, okay? Obviously, you know, if you know about IULs or any universal life, there's usually a surrender charge. What is the surrender charge? It's the punishment for you knowing the truth. That's basically what it is, right? So the surrender charge is $75.68, okay? Which means that because the surrender charge is more than the account value, she really gets nothing. And if you go back on the first page, it actually says surrender value is 0, right there, okay? Very clear, okay? Now, this client was, you know, of course, pissed off. Who would not be, okay? So what we did was at that time, we replaced it, right? We replaced it with more death benefit, right? $100,000 more, and she's paying what? $200.06 less, $82.50. Okay, right? She actually, and I educated her. I did a full financial plan. This is also why you need to get your securities license, right? She started funding her off through me. She started with $200, and you know, as she saw, you know, the importance in having like tax-free retirement, she's now up to $400 a month. She's also putting 10% in her 401k plan. All right, and you know what's funny is when she left, she moved to Texas from Missouri, and she had rolled over her 401k from her old job to me. That was an easy step. I didn't even have to educate anyone. Does that make sense? All I had to do was send the prospectus and just kind of go over like 10 minutes. It was a 10-minute conversation, right? Do you think that if she leaves her job in that new job, where do you think that money's gonna go? To me, right? But I planted those seeds. I spent about 2 hours educating my client, right? Now that being said, we also established an emergency fund. She opened a high yield savings account. She actually just bought a house, right? And she just called me to start a 529 plan, right? So what we do will always matter, okay? And basically I earned this referral from the client that I also got out of a trash value policy, okay? So, do you need to take a picture, Leslie? All right, so why do referrals matter? Well, you know what? This is actually, having the referrals, it gives you the highest quality leads, right? Because what happened, the person that I worked with actually trusted me. I was credible. I did what was right. And obviously, trust by association, right? It does lower your marketing costs because you don't have to spend, you know, so much money because you've earned that referral and now they're just coming to you. Matter of fact, I get so many referrals. Sometimes I kind of feel bad because I respond to all of them, but some of them want an appointment. But if you know, obviously, I'm limited in my time, then you know I have to wait, right? They have to wait even though they want something right away, right? You always have to remember that the strong referrals will help build those long-term relationships. We are in a relationship business. Your relationships to other people matters 100%, okay? Foundation is trust. They will always refer you clients if you're not supposed to be responsive. I was doing this early morning. You know, how long does it take for you to respond to your clients when they have an inquiry? How long? What is your time frame? Very good, right? I've always told my clients, and you know what's funny? They know I'm busy. So this is what they always say. You know what, Sheila, I know you're really busy. That's how they start off, you know, before they even send me a message. I know you're really busy. But, you know, I always tell them, if I'm not responding right away, if I see it, I respond right away. But if I can't, I tell them that there are only certain reasons that I'm not responding right away. Either A, I'm already with a client, right? B, I'm driving, because I don't text when I drive, right? C, I'm praying, right? 4, I'm sleeping, right? And what was the other one? Oh, and the other one was the 5 reasons, but anyways, I'll get to it. But literally, it's just because I can't. But I always tell them, I will respond to you at least within 24 hours, okay? The other thing that what I do is, at night before I sleep, right? I will check all of my messages to see if I've missed any, okay? Every day before I go to bed. That way I know that, hey, you know, even if it's late, I'm gonna respond. I'm gonna say, hey, I just got to this message, within 24 hours. That is my golden rule, right? And the last thing is if I really missed it, like, because it got buried somehow. That was the other thing, okay? I'm very responsive. I know that people can rely on me, right? If they need a favor, whatever that may be, they can count on me, right? Of course, I'm not Superwoman, right? There are things that I can't do, and I'm transparent about it, right? So you gotta be very honest with your clients. There are just things that you just literally and physically cannot do, okay? But at least you're honest about it, right? And obviously, I will always put my client's best interest at heart. I don't treat them like a transaction, right? You gotta really care. It'll show if you really care. You're just trying to sell something, all right? And you gotta be very consistent, all right? One thing I've done, even before I was in the business, I was always consistently making sure that I would greet them on their birthdays, you know, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all of those major holidays, I did that, right? Even before I was in the business, right? So nothing had changed. It just, I was able to capitalize, you know, those relationship skills that I had towards the business, okay? All right, you have to deliver an exceptional client experience, okay? I don't know about you guys, but, you know, I always appreciate excellent customer service, even on the receiving end, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, do you remember the good experiences?
Yes.
Absolutely. Do you go back when you have a great experience, whether it's a restaurant, right, a hotel, right, airlines, whatever you use, okay? So, when we educate clients, always remember that we do what is right 100% of the time, right? One thing that we are very good at is educating them using simple and understandable terms. Would you agree?
Yes.
A lot of times, you know, I was just talking to somebody this past week, and they told me, you know, the reason I don't like talking to advisors is because they make me feel like I'm stupid. I already know that I don't know a lot, but they use these terms that I can't understand. So, of course, nobody likes to admit that they don't know, so they just, nod their heads, right? We make things simple. Keep it simple, understandable, talk down to the level of their understanding, right? Because if they understand what you're telling them, they're gonna appreciate you even more, right? How many clients have I talked to and they say, Sheila, thank you so much for not making me feel like I'm so stupid. I said, no, you're not stupid. It's just you don't have the information. You're not equipped with the information. And I always tell them, I was the same way. I said, the reason I got into the business is because I wanted to learn about how money works. That was the main reason, right? Because I was a very happy client, investments had grown with the company, and I wanted to learn that. But it transitioned into what? Caring for clients for getting bamboozled by these stupid cash value agents. I keep going back to that, right? You gotta personalize every transaction. You gotta build rapport. And I think Tia's gonna talk about building rapport, right? I think, right? Like respect cultural values, okay? So I think Shaq mentioned this in one of the trainings on Monday, like when I go to a client's house, I always remove my shoes, right? I actually do that, right? Even if they say, no, keep it on. Sometimes they'll have slippers ready for me or whatever, right? But I always take my shoes off, okay? You gotta be punctual and respect your time, right? If you say 8 o'clock, you gotta be there what, at least what, 15 minutes early or before? Just don't get 7:45, right? Okay, be very respectful of the time. You know, when I'm doing a QA, I always ask them, how much time are you willing to give me today? That way, you know, you're not like, you know, people sometimes have very short attention span, right? You're talking to them for like, they're expecting you to be there for 45 minutes, even on Zoom, whatever, and then you're talking your head off, and they are long gone. Right? You do not want to waste your time nor theirs, okay? Oops, sorry. Gosh, I can't see. Put on my glasses. Oops, sorry. Sorry. I have it on here, but, oh Lord have mercy. Okay, be an active listener, right? You always want them to talk more than you. Like sometimes I do talk a little bit more, but that's because I have to explain so much, especially with trash value policy, right? But you want to listen, be an active listener to them because people like to talk about themselves, right? Plus, you're gathering information anyways. It's important to gather the data that you need to be able to help the clients, right? And you want to encourage questions, all right? I don't know about you guys, but I'm always like, you need to ask as many questions as you can, right? Especially when you're training somebody, this helps with the trainee because they're not gonna learn everything on one appointment, right? Everything that we learn is from going to so many appointments, right? Make sense? Yeah. All right, so when do you ask for referrals? There are also, a time and place for that. You don't ask for a referral when you start. You don't even know the client. You haven't even built that trust yet, right? So number one, we do plant seeds in the QA, right? In the thank you screen, we say thank you so much. If hopefully you'll get excited. If you find the information we have to share with you is something worth sharing to the people that you care about, then we might earn your referrals, right? You're already planting that seed, okay? You gotta, obviously, if you've had a client and they say, hey, you know what, you did an awesome job, then obviously you can say, well, you know what, if you think I did an awesome job, then, make sure that you tell all your family and friends about me. I'm happy to help them, right? Sometimes you're just solving problems successfully for people, right? This may not be even related to your business. Like, who has done favors for other people? Sometimes you can leverage that, right? I'm sure most of the people that you know, right, are already aware that you're in the business of financial services, right? And obviously when clients express satisfaction, that kind of goes hand in hand with 2 and 4, right? 2 and 4 kind of go hand in hand with each other, right? If you are that great, right, because I was that way. I was the person, if you did a good job or you cooked me the best, best cake, everybody's gonna know about who you are, okay? Right? Okay. All right. Now, when you're asking for the referrals, you want to keep it natural and don't put too much pressure. Because I think when you put too much pressure, you sound very salesy, right? Nobody likes to, feel like, oh, they're just trying to get my referrals from, whatever, just to sell. We are here to help people. The example that I showed you is one of many examples that I have. All right, so you'll never be embarrassed of getting the clients, the referrals of your clients, right? Because we're gonna do what is right 100% of the time, okay? So how do you build your referral network? Well, you gotta recruit your clients. Most of the people on my team right now, right, are actually my existing clients. Some of them said no at the beginning, right? Oh, what was it? Didn't have time. Oh, it's hard, I don't sell. I never sold anything in my life, right? Maybe the Bing, just kidding. And it worked, right? But I've never been in sales, okay? So you gotta recruit your clients. If you're doing an amazing job, right? Sometimes they just need a little push, especially when they see your results. This is why I'm getting, a lot of these nurses that are coming on board because they knew that I quit my nursing job, right? After just 4.5 years of like busting my chops, I still bust my chops, right? That's why my last name is Bustamante, because I bust and move, right? Right? You like that, huh?
Yeah.
Now, you know, I am a social butterfly, right? But, you know, if you're not, you gotta start being one, right? You gotta attend these community events. You gotta go to social gatherings. I went to a lot of birthdays, baptisms. Matter of fact, tomorrow I'm gonna be a sponsor at a confirmation. And then next week, Bing and I are gonna be, you know, sponsors for one of our goddaughters that is getting married. Okay? Partner with professionals. I like what you said last time, right? What did you do? You posted on Facebook, right? And you said, you know, blue collar jobs, right? Because that's who you resonate with, because that's what you did before, right? You can partner with professionals. Like somebody here said that they have an accountant. Oh, maybe it was somebody else that is in that room right now, right? Because you know these other professionals, you can work with realtors, you know, accountants, whatever. Right? Because you can help each other in the business, okay? You want to partner with people that have similar values though, right? Obviously you don't want to, you know, you can probably try to talk, you know, cash value client agents out of doing it, but it's very unlikely because they're so brainwashed, right? But you want to partner with people that have similar values that you have. Join organizations. I used to join like PACC, right? I joined some, you know, basketball, volleyball. Next thing is pickleball, just kidding. But you gotta join organizations, right? And you stay very active on social media, right? I have a group that I have established, and I've joined a lot of nursing groups. That's my niche, right? Because I used to be a nurse for almost 26 years. But you know, whatever your niche is, like my mom, right? A dad, right? Pickleball, whatever, right? You gotta join, you know, a group that will help you kind of build your own network, okay? Now, social media pointers, you gotta post educational content. I see that you're doing that a lot. I see you, Chantel. I try to like, you know, when I see it, Sashia, right? Because it keeps it, you know, it probably will allow the people that follow you to just read, right? And if they see that you're educating, then they're like, okay, this is probably a good idea to talk to these people. How many times have I got you know, like a client message from me just posting content, right? Especially when I post, you know, client results, right? Success stories, like what I just showed you, I will immediately get like 3 messages right away. Okay? Now, we have to be compliant, right? We don't post like their names or whatever like I just did. Right? That was a mistake. But I don't do that on my social media. This is us anyways, right? You want to engage with comments and messages sometimes, right? Because sometimes some fool may be trying to, you know, tell somebody to buy trash value, whatever, and then you talk them out of it, and that's like, some people start doubting themselves. This is actually what happened when I joined this big nursing group. I started just kind of posting about, you know, cash value versus term. And then every time a cash value would try to, you know, comment, I would just comment right back. And every single person that I didn't know on there that sent me a message always said that I always follow all of your comments. Because it made sense, and it's just like, and you're a tough cookie, like you don't care. I said, because I don't. Right? I don't give a shit what they say. If they're wrong, I'll put them in their place. Right? Sorry, Dad. But, you know where you know. I got it from him. Right? And you know, you want to be authentic and approachable, right? That was the wrong spelling, okay? Just be yourself, right? People like that transparency. I've been like this ever since, I don't know, ever since day one. Okay? Diapers, yeah. If I didn't dress in diapers, I wouldn't, right? All right. So social media pointers, if anybody has any questions about that, and I think I'm almost done, right? Client appreciation strategies. I like to always say thank you to my clients, especially after they've given me a referral. Sometimes I take them out for, you know, whatever, dinner, lunch, buy them, you know, cupcakes, right? I host a lot of appreciation events, seminars. Seminars are really good. I just did one on Zoom. I did a seminar on Social Security, right? I got somebody from Bright House, his name is Tom Alley, he's amazing, and I had over 45 people on that call, right? Did I ask for business? No, the business will sell itself. It's like, Sheila, you do all this? Absolutely I do, right? And then you know what, you wanna also recognize long-term relationships. And I appreciate all my clients that have been with me from day one. That's why QBI is at 92%. We keep our clients happy, right? And just the key takeaway, again, referrals are earned through trust and excellent service. You know, strong relationships will always lead to long-term growth. Consistency, professionalism, and authenticity matters, and happy clients are your best advocates, okay? Referrals are not earned by asking for business, rather by delivering value, building trust, and leaving an impact. All right, thank you.